GT Holidays, South India's #1 travel brand.
GUVI, a vernacular edutech brand, skilling everyone everywhere.
Hello Fahad, welcome to Galata Plus. Thank you for limping your way here. Your leg is not okay.
Yeah, that's
you,
right.
You slipped and fell
I'll manage,
and kind of a thing. But you don't like giving interviews.
It's not that I don't like. It's just that I don't know what to talk. It's because I don't talk. I make films. You know, that's the easiest way for me to communicate to the
When
audience.
you're at home with your wife,
Huh?
you talk.
No, we don't have to talk cinema, right? Interview, I only have to talk about cinema, and there's nothing much I talk about cinema. I'd like to do cinema than talk about it. Or
Aren't there people that your friends like Kamal or Sham or somebody like that, where you say, "Oh, I saw this great movie. This is what this thing."
That's the thing. I never talk about cinema to these people.
You never talk.
I talk my
You and
personal
Sham
stuff.
Pushkaran run a studio.
We never talk cinema. We never talk cinema. Like, I go to him, he tells me about something he read somewhere, he tells me about someone he met somewhere, or he tells me about a story that, one of the director friends told someone. So it's never about, do you see that film? Or can we do something like that? Not a single time I've had a conversation like that. And to be honest, Dileesh Podan doesn't watch any films other than his films. So for me, okay, with Amal, we do talk a lot about cinema because he's an encyclopedia. You go and ask him, Chata, which was that film, that came out in the 80s, and he'll easily give you that. So my prep or my my interactions with the close circle are never about cinema. It's more about life, and it's about what I see out of my window.
So you're saying that it would be easier to do this interview if I were to ask you about
it'll be easier for me to.
How's she at home?
Okay.
Yeah.
All that's good, but if you ask me about Aavesham, I'll say it's easier for me to show you the film than talk about it.
Right. And we are going to talk about Aavesham.
Yeah. So, but about my wife, I can talk how much of you want.
Yeah, but this is unfortunately not that kind of interview.
I know.
Yeah. So, but I hope she's good.
Absolutely.
So, but
rich producer.
Yeah.
Rich producer, I'm saying.
Yeah. I was just looking at your filmography, and I realized that your last few films, you haven't had like a heroine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm like, is he deliberately choosing films where...
My director.
Yeah.
So someone asked Jithu, how come there's no heroine in Aavesham?
Yeah.
And he immediately said there was no heroine in Romancham as well.
Yeah.
That's when he realized, oh my God, I don't have any,
Yeah, because even Nazria's role in Trance, I mean, there are glimpses of it. But there's actually no, the man-woman thing that never happens for you in your movies.
I'm going to look at it.
No, I'm not asking you to look at it.
No, but so I've done only what excited me. There was no plan, or there was no intention to such kind of films.
Right.
I just did what excited me.
Right.
But yeah, I want to explore more with the man.
Yeah, because even in Pachum, which is the film that I really liked, it's more about cheating and this and that. It was not like a conventional.
I know.
Like a romantic.
And also, every time I think about doing a love story, the taste is also a factor, right? So I want to do something which is today's Maunaragam, or something like that. And
right.
It's not easy. I mean, the world's changed so much. It's not easy to, give your take on a marriage that easily now.
Right.
So I want to discuss something, but it's too early to say.
Yeah, because I'm thinking of at one point there was something like Anayun Rasulum, all that. But for the longest time, you've been either a married person.
I'd love to do a revolutionary road. I dream to do something like that.
A revolutionary road?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, no one calls me for that.
Yeah. So with Aavesham, who dreamt up this reintroducing Fahadh Faasil thing?
I think everyone. I think primarily the discussion started from Jithu only. I think Jithu and Nazria started talking about it, and so we never thought of having that as a on the titles or anything. But and eventually, everyone who started seeing the film somehow were excited about seeing a new me, or so then eventually everyone decided, okay, fine, let's just reintroduce him. And I was not giving any promotions or anything, so they wanted something to push the film. So.
But why reintroduce? Is it because a Fahadh Faasil zone is usually something else, and you're pushing yourself into a new zone? Was that the thought behind the whole thing?
That's one. Two, I've never approached a film like this. I've never been worried if audience would like a moment or is the moment massy enough. No. For me, it was all about, okay, let's stay within the cinema and decide. Let's just stay within the narrative and take a call. But with Aavesham, I've let that doors open and explore. Let's just go one tad. So with Aavesham, the attempt was always that to just go a little above my usual, what do you call, boundaries or whatsoever.
Or whatever.
Yeah. And if you look at it, Aavesham is actually written for the audience in the sense that the film is actually moving with the audience than with the character or any of the other factors.
Right.
So I've not approached anything like that earlier. For me, it was I wanted the screenplay to move organically, and so with Aavesham, no, I said no, let's try something else. Also, I mean, Jithu came to me with something which is very commercial, and so maybe I've not approached anything like that before. That's the main reason why Aavesham is so new to me.
The way I saw it, you're still within character in the movie. It's not like you're within the character of Ranga as well.
Ranga, yeah.
You're pretty true to that. It's not like
yeah.
you're just doing mass for the heck of it. It's like a...
Yeah, but it's isn't it very hard to stitch this thing? I mean, you have to see every detailing that you've always given for your characters. At the same time, he's loud. At the same time, there's love in him. There is concern. There is another side. So
There's a sadness in him.
there's a sadness in him. Yeah. So to stitch all that to a character like this, a character who's so loud, I think that was a little challenging to bring in all these elements to someone like that. And I'm not the first person to do that. Mammootty has done it so royally with Rajinikanth.
Yeah.
The attempt was to remind people of a character played by another hero 20 years back, or I wanted to bring back the excitement of watching an old film.
Yeah.
In screen. Yeah.
And that was what Jithu's...
Absolutely. So Jithu is a very interesting person to interact with. I think he's a director I took the longest to crack. I think we were into shoot, and so we started with the bar episodes where I made the kids and all that. We're shooting. He's moving on, like third, fourth day shoot. And I ask him, "Is it falling in place?" And he's like, "Yeah, it'll fall." It's not. So it took a long time for us to crack his energy. I mean, Ranga's energy, or the way he spoke to the kids. So one example he gave me was he's a center of a circle, and his distance to everyone is the same. He's like, I mean, the radius is the same to everyone. So whoever he wants to get closer to, he'll call them inside.
Yeah.
So that was a very interesting description that I got. He's the center of the circle, and everyone is on the, the diameter.
Yeah.
I mean, and he would call people he wants. So he would call Amban, he would call the boys, he would call Nanjappa, and everyone is pushed back to the other. So that was a very interesting, this thing he gave me. So, I mean, we worked around all that, and I didn't do it alone. Ranga wouldn't be Ranga if Samir Tahir was not there, Sushin Sham was not there, Ashwini was not there. So we all brought him together, I guess.
What is the difference between playing a larger-than-life character like Ranga versus a larger-than-life character in a larger-than-life movie like Pushpa?
Pushpa itself was so the setting is larger than life, right? Aavesham is set in Bangalore. You see Bangalore, like you land in Bangalore, you know where Aavesham is happening. The Pushpa, it's set in the 90s, and I mean, the geography is set, the characters are set, so everything is set for Pushpa. Aavesham, we've set the film in the right geography, or so I think the approach is different, and Pushpa can be set anywhere.
Right.
Aavesham cannot be set anywhere.
Right. So you're saying that there you're playing a larger-than-life character in a movie that's larger than life.
Absolutely.
And here you're playing a larger-than-life character in a very normal, regular surrounding.
Regular surrounding, you may say, but that regular surrounding, Aavesham regular surrounding is a little, sort of above for the normal Malayalam films. But But the approach is what is different for Pushpa and Aavesham,
Right.
Yeah.
So when it comes to again reintroducing you and from your there was a phase when according to me there are two phases of Malayalam cinema in recent times. One is the time the pandemic happened, started, and suddenly people started watching like a lot of films typically like your own See You Soon, Kumbalangi Nights. All these films kind of broke out of the people that typically watch Malayalam cinema and found a bigger audience outside. And suddenly people were talking about them. And the second big thing is this year, when suddenly like Malayalam cinemas acquired a life of its own. Because in a sense, if you look at it, even last year we had like Mammootty doing Nanpagal Nerthumayakam, Kadal, and Kannur squad. So all like commercial, artistic things. Not that the two are separate anyway. But you had RDX, which was like a huge hit among the youth, and which I would say was an action version of Premalo, whatever it is. So you did have films last year, but somehow this year the conversation seems to have been about how everything is broken out. What's your take on that?
I'm just analyzing it because having produced Premlu and Aavesham, there is a huge surprise factor with the trade. I mean, everyone has been discussing about it. There's a huge growth of 40 to 50% theatrical revenue and everything. One, primarily, I believe all the films are very good. Whether it's Manjumal Boys or Premlu or Brahmayugam or Aavesham, Varshanal Kishesham.
Aadu Another surprising because
absolutely,
you think a movie that's serious,
absolutely,
doing these kind of numbers is amazing. Yeah.
So one is that I think the films were very much inviting to the audience, and all the films were so different from each other, and that's a plus, I think, and audience were ready to explore that in theaters. Secondly, like I said, the trade has grown, but Malayalam cinema even now doesn't have a solid backup of a internet platform, or we need to prove in theaters for any of these things to come in. So it's not like rest of India, where the film, almost 80% of the films are sold even before the shoot is started. Our model is not that. We need to finish the film, release the film, prove the film, and then, so I think that way we are more self-sufficient now, I think, I mean, we are very, we understand the importance of making a film that's different, that will make noise. So I think everyone is on that mode now, let's make films that, that sort of reach out, and then rest of the, whether it's business or the exposure of the film get, let that be secondary, but let's try and make a noise here.
Right. So in this new age, let me say, or new era, whatever it is it going to be difficult to make your Maheshinda Prathikarams or the Tontimuthalam Dikshashyams, which kind of were this wonderful mix of, I would say commercial, but mainstream and
I was having a chat with my friend yesterday, and I said, do anything in the next 5 years in Malayalam. Do anything. Do a film without dialogues. Do a film without music. Do a film without, do a black and white film again. So I think this is a time to explore everything.
Right.
Like, and don't, I mean, I don't think there's a point where we need to ask, should we not? Just do it. People are ready.
Right.
People are ready. The industry is ready. Everything is, I think, the platform is set. We just need to go and explore it.
Right.
And let's not chase the 100 crore thing. I mean, let's just do some meaningful films.
Something interesting.
Absolutely.
But is that what you see? Because you're not just an actor, Fahadh. You're a hero. There's a difference between the two, because an actor is somebody who comes and does a good job and goes. And a hero is somebody who also has a box office stature. So you have to kind of, do you look at, like, whether when you sign a film, do you also look at, is this going to take me a little higher as a hero?
I look at recovery. I don't see it as I don't see a film as my personal growth, or this can get me to the next level. No, I would rather produce a film, and so I get these highs producing films, or so for me the high is not about me being good in a film. The high is about the film itself being, insanely different, and the wow factor, or so whether it's Kumbalangi Nights or any of the films that I've eventually acted in as a producer, it's because we couldn't find any other actors. So Kumbalangi Nights was written for another actor, and I mean, things never fell in place, and Shyam just turned around and asked, just come and do it, man. You know, that's how I did it. I want to be known for the films I make than the characters I play.
Right. What I'm saying is there also you don't put on yourself the pressure of, not when I say that, like if a film becomes like Aavesham's become a big hit. So that means that you have reinforced the fact that yes, audiences want to see me, like I'm a star. Isn't that important so that you get your kind of...
No, I'll reintroduce myself again after a couple of years. I want to do this. No, I don't want to do an Aavesham again. I'm going to do, I'm going to shoot with Altaf Salim. Totally different film, you know, a boy meets girl kind of a... again. So Aavesham will never decide what I do next.
Right. You know, one of my favorite films of your last maybe 5 years is Trance. Because I like these films that take a big swing, you know, I have a crazy premise, I'm just going to go all out with it, and you're there, you're fully committed. Do you think today, had that film been made, maybe the audience should have come on board a little more?
I have my reservations on dealing with religion in Kerala. I don't think
that works.
No, I don't think people would want to hear the harsh reality, if I may say. They want to be entertained, and what Trans lacked after a point was that entertainment factor. There was a lot of awareness and things like that, but the entertainment factor was taken away from the film at some point, and that's where I think we failed. Having said that, I mean, a corrected second half Trans would still make a lot of difference, but I wouldn't touch religion for a while in Kerala.
Right. Now, in a recent interview, you said, I'm a better producer than I am an actor. What is that?
I have so many limitations as an actor. So many limitations. I have to keep asking my DOP, what's the lens? How close are we? How far are we? So there are so many things I can't...
But other actors do that too.
Yeah, but I think an actor shouldn't do that. I've never seen Mammootty sir or Mohanlal sir doing that, you know. Even my father says that, you know, the moment you learn your lines and you're in front of the camera, you shouldn't be worrying about who's capturing you, what's been captured, or how you've been captured, you know. So I'm very conscious that way. I ask my costumer, is it fitting well, you know. So I keep discovering that there's so many limitations. I'm depending on so many people to get this right. As a producer, it's not like that. I give people immense freedom to explore, and I like that. And, you know, when a person like Dileesh Potan or Shyam is given absolute freedom to explore, it's totally different than staying in and controlling and doing a film.
Right.
You know, so as a producer, I don't have any limitations. I'm willing to explore any which way.
Right.
But I have to be very cautious about the kind of films I act in.
When you're saying that, are you saying you're not a very comfortable actor?
No, I am an actor because I didn't find any other job. I'm still trying to...
You keep saying that, but that's such a ridiculously immodest thing to say, considering what you've done.
I didn't do it alone, right? So it's so many other people, and you know.
Films are a collaborative medium, Fahad. No directors can say I did it alone. No.
So I keep telling everyone, you know. So can you ask Anwar Rashid to do a scene of Trance with another actor? I'm sure he'll produce the same intensity because I know Anwar. How I went to Anwar and how Anwar got things out of me, I'm very aware of that. So I think he does that magic with any actor. So I don't know, it doesn't go to my head that...
I'm not saying it should go to your head, but I'm just saying that you must be aware that you're capable of executing a certain kind of... let me talk about that. Like, for example, that dumb charade scenes in Aavesham, right? Now, it starts off as fun, but then there's a very crucial aspect of yours that where what was very striking for me was the intensity that you maintain, both because you are getting exasperated, something in you wants to burst out, but you want to keep the fun going, but that fun, afterward, it becomes frustration. You're almost like looking like you want to kill somebody, but then the fun returns. That's a very bizarre and wonderful scene. But like, tell me how, are you going to say again that it was all Jithu or?
See, the intention of the scene was given to you, right? I mean, even during the first narration, the scene was there. So the purpose of the scene was clearly told to you. So the only thing I asked was to what extent can I pull it? Like, how far can I take it? What Jithu told me is just take it to the max. Just take it till one of the actors sort of, break down or laugh out or. So that, I mean, when he said that, we all knew that, okay, fine, we had to play this in a way that there's so much more drama than what we actually, what he's actually written. So when you have a, description like that, it's easy to, so what if Jithu had written, this has to be very controlled. Ranga has to be sitting. Ranga shouldn't be moving. Ranga has to sit in one chair and do this. Then this whole thing would be so difficult. So, like again, the stage was set. He said, just do it. Just do it. So, it's just not enough that I understand the scene. Everyone in that frame needs to understand it.
Definitely,
I mean,
definitely. But what goes into your understanding of the scene? You obviously read what the script is, and then you have your talk with your director, and then what happens to you?
See, I wanted the boys to get scared.
Okay.
But at the same time, at the end of the thing, I wanted the audience to laugh.
Right.
I wanted these two meeting points. In that scene, my connect to the audience was these 2 points.
Right.
And I think we try to crack that, I think.
Right. And that's something that you say that this is what I want.
Yeah, I mean, I played around, so, and they'll pick up, so at some point Jithu will say, oh, this is the one. Yeah, let's do that.
Right.
So
right.
I don't go to sets with a definite pattern. I keep telling them, let's try this. So, in fact, I'm shooting Pushpa. Sukusa is like, so what do you want to do? I say, I don't know. Yeah, even I don't know. So you do 3-4 options and we'll decide. So I find it, so when you go to buy something at a shop, whatever it is that you want to buy, you don't buy the first thing you see, right? You look at options. And
right.
So, I mean, I think that's very important for a scene as well. You see multiple variations and, then you lock on a meter.
Right.
For me, it very constantly happens. And I'm a person who goes back to reshoot the first day work and all that. So it's primarily because there's a meter I try to crack.
Right.
And that's very important. That meter needs to align with the other actors as well.
Right.
And it's just not easy to just, get there.
Right.
So even with the scene, what I'm trying to, you would have seen this variation of Ranga in another scene also.
Yeah. It's not coming up.
Absolutely,
just
absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So the reason you say that sometimes you go back and reshoot things that you've done on the first day shoot, maybe three weeks later, is that because after that first day shoot and maybe during, let's say, the second week or something, that's when you crack the meter?
Yeah.
And so you want that earlier scene also to be
redone. Yes.
Okay.
I have evidently seen that I understand the character much better after after 3 weeks of shoot than
after enacting or embodying
after playing
that.
around and yeah. And I always get this clarity after playing around with other actors. Nyan Prakashan. I went to Satyaran and said, I want to reshoot one of the scenes we did earlier. And he said, why? No, it's only when I did a scene with Sriniar and I understood, this has to be the meter. So that always happens. Always happens. And Aavesham also, I mean, all my films I've reshot. Yeah. So.
Right. By now.
And surprisingly, I did an audition for a foreign production house. I'm not using any names. So this is the first time ever I did an audition. And they gave me a scene, and I don't know, I mean, very sweet people, all of them, very sweet, and So I got a scene, and I don't know anything before the scene or after the scene. I know a big actor is doing that scene, and the scene is with me. Or I have to do that scene with him. And that's when I realized that even my closest friend cannot crack me with just a scene. Like, he comes and gives me a scene, I will not be able to crack anything. I have to evolve. Like, I'm not saying it's good or bad, but this is my method. I'm happy with this method.
No, fair enough. Because, see, you indirectly gave, I was going to ask you what your general process on approaching a thing is. And basically, you're saying that I have to live with that character for a while in front of the camera. Yeah. And once I live with that character for a while, I slowly start finding the little things that, for example, that grin and
mostly, more than me finding it, I let others see it. It's easier for me to judge,
Right.
So, because I'm not a person who goes with a script, I go with capturing,
right.
Like I believe the most beautiful thing about filmmaking is capturing.
Right.
You know? It's a slightly hard process, but it's fun. It's
Right.
really, yeah.
But you're not one of those people who romanticizes acting and all that.
No.
It's a job.
Absolutely.
Now, you haven't worked with Mammootty Mohanlal, so I have to ask you this with veterans from another language. You worked with Kamal Haasan, you worked with Rajinikanth.
I've worked with Mammootty, sir.
You worked with Mammootty?
Emmanuel.
Oh, long back.
Yeah.
So when you watch Kamal Haasan act, Mohanlal act, Rajinikanth act now, as an actor, what is it do you think they bring to their scenes? Are you able to kind of look at them as not just a fan, but as an actor?
When I see each of them perform individually, it's not that I don't get their process or the method, but I understand how they are so sincere in front of camera. Like, they're very honest in front of camera. And that's because they purely believe everyone is equal in front of camera. Whether it's Rajni sir or Kamal sir or Mammootty sir, I mean, they come and they explore the scene, they ask the other actors. So there is a sort of discussion which actually makes you feel, okay, we all are the same here. And that eases out a lot of things. And I've noticed this with all three of them. I mean, I'm sure Lalsa also has that. Or, I mean, the other stars in Telugu or in Bombay will also have that. But my situation was a little different when I met them. So when I first worked with Mammootty, I think I had already done Diamond Necklace and Anayam Rasoolum. So we were at a point where he wanted to discuss and he wanted to know, my process and all that. By the time I met Kamal sir, I'd done See You Soon and, Rajni sir, I keep asking, sir, have you seen any of my films? No, I don't want to see your films. I know.
He's not seen any of your films.
He's seen Vikram and Mamanan and all that.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Not the films that made you. Yeah.
no, but I think he's heard about me, I guess. But regardless, for me, it's just absolutely brilliant. Just seeing them learn a line and deliver it. So when they do that, for me, it's it's the history of cinema that runs through me. When Rajni sir, he stands there and does this and all that. For me, it's so unreal for me. So I am tripping on all that. Then what I am discovering or learning. For me, it's the witnessing all this itself is a
right. But you're also saying that in a way it comes back to your own philosophy that they're also collaborative actors.
Absolutely. See, the intention of me going there is not to do a Basha or a Tevar Magan or anything. It's pure talent collaboration. Just want to go there and interact with them and, talk to them. And I'm very fortunate that I have that relation with all of them now. Like, I just go to them and ask them, so how do you shoot the sequence in Tevar Magan or in Nayagan? And he'll have an answer, So that was what I wanted always, absolute talent collaboration where I can go discuss my stuff, they can come discuss their stuff, and that's happening. That's very clearly happening.
Right. But what you call talent collaboration, there are certain websites, especially in the Malayalam industry, that kind of keep raising this question, why is Fahadh going and acting in like relatively supporting roles in languages, in other language films? And like, how do you answer that? Well, like, why can't he come and act in Malayalam films in bigger roles? Is what their question is. They're anguished, I think. I don't know.
So I don't work on timelines. I have no sense of timelines. I never finish things on time. I never start things on time. Like all that, there's no plan for all this. I'm just doing things that I'm excited about. And evidently, I tell my audience, my commitment to them is just, I'll try and make the film watchable. I don't want them to think about me otherwise. I don't want them to think worry about what I'm doing with my life. Just don't take me seriously when you leave theaters.
Right.
Just think about me in the theater. That's all. And I don't want people to talk about actors or performance on the dining table. Let them just discuss in the theater or maybe on the way back home. That drive. Not more than that. Cinema is not beyond that. Cinema has a limit, and let's just put it there.
That's not how a cinephile operates. Fahadh, the point of
that's what I want to change. That's what I'm not saying I want to change, but There's more that you can do with your life than watching, you know.
No, definitely. See, the thing is, but the point is, if a medium, it could be anything. It could be writing, it could be whatever, photography, it could be anything, right? If most people
so-
have music, for instance, like
No, but
if
cricket
you're
does-
obsessed about music,
Cricket does 20 times of what cinema does.
you mean in terms of money?
Everything.
Yeah.
Cricket does 20 times of what cinema
Right,
does.
but the point is, if something obsesses you, you end up talking about this batsman's,
Yeah.
strokes or
Yeah.
play, the way he approaches a shot, the way
Absolutely.
he did that in the previous
Absolutely.
game.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
it's not. So I'm saying that for me, the way you acted in Aavesham versus the way you approach the role in Pushpa, the similar larger than
So
life. So that's. I mean, I don't think it's a waste of time.
Yeah,
I
so
think,
that the life of that should be till I do a next film, not till I do my,
right, but because you are a constantly evolving actor, and the films are also constantly evolving because audiences change, new directors come in, they breathe in new blood. It's fascinating to look at things in a continuum rather than just that particular, Fahadh did Aavesham, it's a hit, let's move on. It's not that.
It sounds more beautiful, right? He did Aavesham, done. So now let him come with something else. Why think about him,
I think we need to have a longer conversation with this after.
So, I think Amar does this. I mean, at least Amar used to do that in 2000s and all that. He would disappear after Lagan and Dil Chahta Hai and come with a Mangal Pandey, again disappear and come back with, So, I think, I've heard Dilip sir does that. Dilip Kumar Saab used to do that. I like that.
You like that?
I like that. I don't want anyone to talk about me or celebrate me or anything. Just watch my films, and that too only if it's good. If it's not good, don't watch it.
Okay.
I'm very clear about that. Yeah.
Right. When you say that you accept films because it gives you the chance to do something that's new, right? But with films, some films like Aavesham, for instance, do you also have a gut feeling that I think this film is really going to break out? I think this film is going to become like quite a big hit. Does that happen?
I had that with Kumbalangi.
Okay.
I had that with Kumbalangi. I had that with Varathan. In fact, I had with Trans, but I was wrong. But with Trans, I thought that's what with religion, you shouldn't take religion or any such thing as a setting for a film. It can only be a factor.
But you've also had movies like Ayurveda Pustakam, I think, which kind of looked at Job's story through.
Yeah. But there was no religion or anything. I mean,
you mean in the movie?
in the film.
Yeah,
in the
okay,
film.
okay.
Yeah. So I generally have that. I had that with Nyan Prakash, and like I said, the artistic side is there. The other side is more active. Like I spoke about the recovery and all that. Right. So I'm very active that way. I'm very sharp with numbers. So I'm very conscious that way. I'm worried about the recoveries, the costing, and everything.
Right.
So I'm involved in that.
Right. So supposing you are like producing, let's say a movie with, forget Aavesham because that gives you a gut feeling, but let's say you're producing a movie that you're like, okay, I like this movie, but I'm not so sure, then you'll work accordingly so that the costs are manageable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Can you name a movie that you did that way?
Malayan Gunja?
Malayan Gunja. I was going to just say that. Yeah.
Very, I mean, of course, Rahman and everyone is there, but
the scale of the film.
Yeah, scale of the film. Also, it's not an easy film to watch. It's not very easy. A lot of people complain of claustrophobia and things like that. So, yeah. So such models, yeah, we prepare ourselves.
Right. There have been a bunch of Malayalam film directors that I like a lot, and I cannot name now, but you know a lot of them, and you worked with a lot of them, that have come to me and said, not come to me as in when I met them at festivals and other things, they all say that they all want to make a certain kind of movie, but the market's kind of pushing them to make a slightly different kind of movie. And I go back to the word that you said early on, which is entertaining. As long as something is entertaining, it's being consumed by the audience. Has entertainment in some way become a must? And if so, how do you define entertainment? For example, let's take Aadajeevitham, big blockbuster. How would you define the word entertainment with respect to that? Because in a way, the survival aspect mirrors that of Malayan Gunja.
Yeah.
The scale is different. All that is different. But when you look at the basic story of...
So, I think by entertaining, isn't it just good enough that you hijack the audience? Even if it's just for a scene, if you can just totally get them into the film.
Okay.
For me, that's entertainment. You can't have the audience with you throughout the 2 hour, 30 minutes running time or anything. But wherever you can actually, I mean, you make the film like that, right? With the hope that end of this act, audience are going to get locked in. End of this act, there's a relief point for them. And again, they'll get in. So, when you plan a screenplay, these moments are there. And while you're shooting it, for me, it's about, okay, let's see the possibility of this moment. Let's see how much can we connect to the audience.
Right.
Whether it's Artist Jeevitham or Maluti or Malayalam or Manjumal Boys, I think the entertainment factor was that audience at some point getting locked into it.
Right.
And that and that needs to be built on. Right. That has to go on to emotional level. That has, if need be, that has to go on to a revenge level. Or it depends on the story that you're narrating. But the basic entertainment is to actually lock in the audience with your main act at some point.
Right, right. That's an interesting definition, because typically when people say entertainment, they mean you laugh, you cry.
So that's what I've read. I think so. Manisa in one of the interviews said music brings in a lot of relief. So that is also a factor. Maybe, like I said, that connect you want with the audience is a relief point.
Right.
So the music can be one of the aspects. So different directors use different tricks for this. There are directors who just use a dissolve and hold a black screen for 2 seconds.
Right.
So different people have different methods to crack this. But these are the moments. I mean, you should know about that before you start your film, where you're actually trying to bring in the audience and just lock them totally.
Right.
So I mean, you discover these points and then sort of.
Right. So like in these many years of acting in movies, being part of movies as producers, being a director's son, all that, seeing all that, do you think now you have a fair idea of what entertainment is and how to lock an audience?
Sir, the thing about what still, I still have to look at a mirror before I give a shot. I still have to ask my costume guy. And there are boys who do this so easily in front of a selfie cam. They don't care. They're so organically they're doing it. They go around, they show things, and I don't know how they do that. So it's changing in a pace that's difficult for us to catch up with. I mean, when I say this, I'm sure writers are experiencing this, or the musicians are experiencing this. So the world or the society is evolving at a pace where catching up is hard, but there is so much to reflect on, or there's so much to discuss in this, because there's so much change happening.
Right.
There's so much to discuss.
Right.
So I think it will go in tally. I think
So when you were on the sets of Aavesham and the 3 boys are there, who are all like YouTube that generation, right?
Big stars,
Did you see that difference?
Absolutely. So one time we were shooting next to a school, and I was in the vanity. I was called for the shot, and suddenly they came in and said, "No, don't come. The school just left." And I said, "Yeah." So, but, I'm sitting in the vanity, so it's a big deal. So, hipster. Apparently, he's so popular with the younger crowd, and that too, it was it was Bangalore, not Malayali kids or anything. Kids came in, they stood just to see him, say hi to him, just wave at him. So everyone is a star in their own way, and and I always tell people, the younger generation, they're not bothered about the camera, they're not bothered about the lens, they're not conscious, because they've been seeing and involving with this for a long time. It doesn't matter to them how they're captured, and I see that with a lot of talents now. I mean, Aavesham also. These boys, I've never seen them going and asking where's the camera or what is the lens, or even when I run to the monitor after every shot, they're not bothered. They're just there, and I think that's very fortunate that you can perform and not worry about anything else. I think that's magical.
But that might make your life a little easier, no? If you could.
If I can do that, if I can give a shot and not be worried about how it is, that's dream. I'll quit after that.
So would you say that there's also a bit of a control freak in you that wants things to be a certain way?
I'm a bit of OCD. That's there.
Right.
A lot of people find it hard, but so now you found your way, right? You know, so.
Right. But are there directors who came and say, okay, Fahadh, I know you want this take, but I'm going to stick with my decision of this take because for me that works?
Every director showed me that.
Okay.
Every director. So everyone has a different way of saying this. Jithu Madhavan, maybe he'll say, no, it's okay, I like that, let's go with that. Anwar would say, I got what I wanted, now if you want to explore, we'll explore. So everyone has a different way of saying that. Dilesh has a different way of saying that. So, yeah, so it's a trial and error.
In Aavesham itself, was there any one scene that you say was the most difficult thing to play? Because it involved a lot of physicality. There were these single shot, single take things.
So Aavesham itself had a lot of difficult. So, sometimes we wonder, this guy needs to be funny, or does he needs to look, more. I mean, does he have to be a hero kind of a guy? Does he have to be a villain? Or so this was he could be anything, and it was important for us to choose on a flavor and play around with it. So it was very difficult. So now we have to do a part 2, it's easy. But now, to get into to give him a structure with all these emotional, or the dark side of his past, or his innocence, or his foolishness, to package everything into that form was a little difficult, but now, it'll be a cakewalk if we have to do a part 2.
Right, but is just to take us through it, is there one point which you can just remember offhand where you kind of found it a little difficult to get into that scene or mode or zone? Or?
So the mother's thing, so there was a sequence, in the climax where I cry. So this was shot 3 different timelines, because I looked 3 different looks. It's a single shot, but it had to be shot in 3 different timelines. So every shot had to have that intensity of this man being alone. His mother left him, or his brother he trusted left him, or the boys he trusted left him. For me, it was very, very difficult to get that aspect, that this man is alone. This man is alone. And he's never been alone in the film.
Right.
There are 3 scenes where you see him alone. One, he's dancing after his shower or getting ready. Then you see him sitting and eating. Then there's a sequence where Bibi calls him. These are the only 3 scenes in Aavesham you see him alone.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's never alone. So to make audience believe that he's alone with a shot was very difficult. That matching that aspect was a little difficult.
Across those 3.
I asked him for a scene from the past. I said, don't you think a scene with his mother would make a lot more impact than a shot like this? And he said, it's so easy. Anyone can do that.
Actually, that's true.
Yeah, anyone can do that.
Yeah.
And that shocked me. And he just sat in front of me and said, flashback, anyone can do that, right? And then he has a point then. That's how we try and...
Right, so you have to bring the flashback into your...
In a shot.
Yeah.
In a shot, yeah.
Now that we've discovered you don't like talking about films, what are some of your favorite Indian or international films, in the sense of what of the films that have made Fahadh go, I would love to be a part of something like this?
Cinema Paradiso.
Okay.
It changed my life.
It changed your life?
Changed my life.
Yeah.
I still wish to give the audience who watch my film what I felt watching Cinema Paradiso. And
You feel you haven't done that?
Oh, no, not anywhere close to. I have not changed anyone's life. Cinema Paradiso changed my life.
But how can you say that, Fahadh? The other person has to say that.
I've not met anyone. I could have changed my wife's life when. Or my. So, I'm talking about the impact a film did to me. Also, Amor Sparrows, or a lot of films, but what I wish for is that what these films did to me, before I quit, with at least one of my films, I want to give that experience to the audience.
Right. Do you have any plans to direct films?
I can't direct.
You can't?
I can't.
Again, is it the OCD thing, or?
I can't direct, I'm not.
But how do you know that?
Sham says that I can write. but he's never offered a film or anything.
But have you written on your films?
Not
But acting
evidently.
is a form of writing.
Yeah, that's what. So sometimes you write and you give them your draft, and so it's not evidently right, but yeah.
So thank you for being here and having a difficult time with this interview. but I just have to ask you this finally. What does it feel like when you always run into articles or people talking about Fahadh Faasil's eyes?
I have my mother's eyes, and no one saw it till I was 30 years, I think. And so it's a shock for me, What is that they see that no one else saw for the first 30 years of my life? No one spoke about it in school or college or, I think it's thanks to whoever invented Ari, and it's the lenses and the camera and the shift to digital cinema that's helped me, I guess.
But thank you for your time, Fahadh.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Absolutely.
Looking forward to your big lineup this year. You have Pushpa 2 with Allu Arjun. You have Vettaiyan with Rajinikanth. You have...
And I have a beautiful small film with Altaf Salim.
Oh, that's the one that you want.
I'm going to start shooting that.
That's going to be out this year as well?
We're trying end of the year, but yeah.
Okay.
I also have a very cute film with Vadivel sir that I'm doing in Tamil.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that's also this year. Wow, that's a busy year.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm almost done with those films. I hardly have another schedule, but all fun films. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm
Thank you,
happy. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
GT Holidays, South India's #1 travel brand.
GUVI, a vernacular edutech brand, skilling everyone everywhere.